At present, where your business is the sum of pretty much every single decision you've ever made relevant to your company. Position you're in, financial situation, the level of stress you have around the company, how much work you have to do, how successful you are, that's all a result of your decisions. In this video, I'm going to walk you through something that I use to make better decisions and something that allows me to have way more clarity of thought and make the right decision near enough every time so I can climb closer towards my goal. If you use this, you'll find you've got more energy and time, and more importantly, more cognitive capacity to focus on the things that really matter. This isn't some woo-wah shiny object. There's no fancy strategy here. I'm just going to walk you through something that billionaires use. I've studied lots of billionaires and I've been able to notice a pattern. All right. So we're going to talk about using heuristics. Now, my name's Charlie Morgan. I built and scaled two companies, an agency called NorthFlow Consulting. We scaled it to $100,000 a month with over 350 clients. At our peak, we had 64 done few clients. It was around 120K a month. Now I run Imperium Acquisition, which is a multi-seven-figure coaching company that makes around $500,000 a month. The reason that I've been able to build those companies and have that level of success by the age of 24 is because of my ability to make good decisions. Nothing else. It really just comes down to decision making. Business past a certain point becomes less about your ability to work and grind and more about your ability to make prudent, logical, rational, and precise decisions against a goal. So the first thing to understand about decision making is you need to have a goal. You need to centralize your attention and decide what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, you can't optimize, right? So if you haven't got a goal, which I'm sure you probably have, you're kind of screwed. But basically the first rule to making good decisions is to make less of them, which we'll talk about in a second. But more importantly, to make every decision in line with the question of, does this move me closer to my goal? And if so, how much? So that's the optimizing question that we need to ask ourselves. But we're going to talk about heuristics here. A heuristic is a mental model or a simple rule for decision making. You need to look at heuristics as rules you have. For example, a heuristic that you probably have in your life is brushing your teeth twice a day. It's not something that you think about. Yes, it's a habit. Heuristics aren't habits, they're slightly different. But as a rule of thumb, every day without exception, you brush your teeth. At least I hope you do. They're not decisions, but you made the decision once, probably when you were a really young kid or because your parents made you to. You made that one decision. And for the rest of your life, you just, when 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. or 9 a.m. rolls around, you get out of bed, you brush your teeth, first thing you do. Without exception, it's a rule. We want to have similar things in business relevant to our companies so that we don't have to make decisions. Because imagine if every single day you had to decide whether or not you were going to brush your teeth. There exists a principle in psychology called decision fatigue, which you may well be familiar with, whereby the quality of your ability to make good decisions rapidly decreases as you make more of them throughout the day. And when you sleep, your decision-making capacity or capability goes back to 100. And then if you make one decision, i.e. should I brush my teeth or not, you might go down by 5 points. And then by the time you actually get to doing something important, you've got no energy left to make the right decision. All right. So heuristics are great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 3 examples of heuristics that I use specifically around client acquisition. So I like to focus on client acquisition. That's my job. That's what I do, is I help people make client acquisition easy. So I'm going to walk you through 3 heuristics in my company to do with appointment booking and sales, and you should apply these. And then after this video, I want you to think about what other heuristics you could come up with, what other ideas you could create that would allow you to make better decisions. So when I look at my business and look at my goal right now is to hit 8 figures. It's to make $1 million a month with one product, right? In order for me to achieve that, I need to have 1,000 appointments a month. I need the best product. I need a great sales team. Those are the 3 things that I really need that move the needle, right? What I want then is for all of my time and energy to be spent focusing on making good decisions around those 3 things. I want all of my decisions to be made for me. So what you'll notice in business is that patterns exist. Similar events recur, or similar situations or circumstances in business or in your life repeat themselves. And what you want to do is you want to develop if this, then that statements, kind of like psychological Zapier, where if something happens, you immediately know what to do or what the best thing to do is, and you do that every time. That's essentially what a heuristic is. It's a rule. And if you want to scale a business, you must have heuristics because they conserve your time and your energy so that you can put all of your effort and attention onto the 1 or 2 or 3 things that are really important and really grow the business, and everything else that still matters and needs to be attended to has already been pre-decided. So her heuristic, in short, is a pre-decided decision that is automatically ran when a circumstance and a specific set of variables presents themselves. Let's get started with this. So first of all, let's say that you're doing cold emails or cold calls or cold messages or inbound or paid ads, right? The first heuristic we use in the company, and I've got loads, I've got, dozens of them, but this is one of the main ones. If someone asks for the price before a call, the answer is always no. That's a heuristic, right? So if you're doing cold email, you're going to have, maybe once, twice, 3 times a day, people are going to ask you, oh, what's the price, before the call happens, right? Depending on your mood, one day you might tell someone what the price is, and then the next day you might not tell someone what the price is, and then maybe you use a certain reply, then you change your reply. What you want to do is you want to establish a single uniform answer for that circumstance in every instance. So the one that we use is we say, I really appreciate why you're asking that, and I understand you're asking for the price to qualify the opportunity as the right fit for you, because if you don't financially qualify, it's going to be a waste of your time. I want to reassure you that this will be the right fit financially, and every single person we talk to has no trouble with the finances because of the value, the offer, and the way we reverse the risk. With that said, I want to make sure you feel comfortable moving forward. On that premise, you're still happy to book a call. You can transcript that or transcribe that, but that's pretty much that denotes the common response we give in that circumstance. So I've got 2 appointment setters, and someone does cold email. We send 300 cold emails a day. We probably send like 50 to 100 cold messages a day, right? Organically, we probably book 15 to 20 appointments a day from those methods. What that means is every single day, my setters and my cold email people, they've got 5 to 10 people every day asking about the price before the call. What I don't want is for them to be coming to me to say, hey, Charlie, in this specific circumstance, what should I say? So I standardize the response, and it's a heuristic. So what it means is, if this, then that. It's a click-where response, as Robert Cialdini calls it in his book Influence, whereby something happens, it's a pattern, it's happened before, you have a standardized response, and we found that response gets people to book because it's empathetic. It says, look, I understand why you've asked that, I know why you've asked that, but I want to reassure you it won't be a problem, blah, 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 blah. And that's the clean way of getting past it, right? So it means that with my team, for example, like if I look at one of my setters, their job is to consistently send the same message, to maintain a high level of energy and to follow up on people consistently, right? Those are the 3 most important things to their job: high energy, consistently doing lots of volume, and following up on everyone all the time. If they're spending 5 to 10 minutes a day drafting up responses uniquely, their mind starts to get messy, their decisions start to get worse, and then when it comes to having to do the work that they need to do to move the needle, they can't. So that's the first heuristic we use. The second heuristic is following up 8 times on everyone that is warm. All right. And this is a heuristic we use as a rule of thumb. If someone responds positively to one of our outbound messages, our setters or our cold email people that work for us, they will follow up on that person at least 8 times unless the person tells them to go away. So there's a heuristic within a heuristic. If someone responds saying, not interested, fuck off, leave me alone, then we stop responding. That's a heuristic. But as a rule of thumb in the company, no matter what the circumstance, if someone replies positively, we follow up at least 8 times, typically over a 14 to 16 day period, once every 2 days, maybe once every day. Not even once every day, we just do it once every 2 days. Because that's another heuristic, is we set rules and we say, this is how it's done. This is the standardized operating procedure for this task. If you do that every time, we get a predictable result. So if you want predictable, consistent growth in your business, you have to understand that growth is an output. It's something that happens. It's an effect. And so if you want a consistent effect, you must have a consistent cause. If you want a consistent output, you must have a consistent input. As it goes in, so it comes out. And so if one day you feel like going ham on the follow-ups, or 1 week you feel like going ham on the follow-ups, then you follow up on everyone religiously and consistently. And the next week, maybe your mindset's not so great, or maybe someone told you to go away, so you're a bit emotional and you only follow up twice. That is inconsistency, right? We need to do the same thing every time, and we don't want to be making these micro decisions on, should I follow up on this person or not? Because the truth is that nothing really bad happens as a result of it. So that's the second heuristic, very important one. It's made us a lot of money. The third heuristic I'm going to give you is around objection handling. And right now, our sales reps have this as a rule of thumb with our sales calls. They must spend at least 15 minutes with every single objection. What I mean by that is, if they hop on a sales call and they get towards the end and it's a good fit, first of all, the first heuristic is only try and handle objections if it truly is a good fit. So if our sales team, if I say to them, look, the rule of thumb here is if you can change this person's life, you must stop at nothing to onboard them. That's heuristic number 1. The heuristic number 2 is if it's like an if this, then that, then that, then this sort of statement. Rule number 2 is if you can change the person's life, you handle objection. Rule number 2, once the objection happens, you have to sit with it for at least 15 minutes. Because the truth with most salespeople is they just don't spend long enough with the objection. They give up too quickly. So by setting a 15-minute timer, they don't set timers, but they sort of understand like the time frame over which they should be expected to handle. They have to sit with the objection, and they have no choice but to sit there and say, I completely hear you. Tell me more. Just sit with it. You don't have to try and handle it necessarily, but just keep them talking, keep them going, and you'll find often just by spending the time that it works. And so that's what I say to my sales team is, and we have these heuristics for like pitching, we have heuristics for asking questions, we have another heuristic, for example, I'll give you a fourth one. If you're on a sales call and you're talking to a very seasoned buyer, so to speak, a business owner who's very short and straightforward with their answers, they're making, multi 6 figures, 7 figures, they're quite blunt, they just want to get to it. You don't ask them the emotional questions. It's another heuristic. You use your judgment and you make the judgment call. Okay, this person's giving me nothing but one-word answers. At this point, it makes sense throughout the sales pitch to then say, okay, listen, Mr. Prospect, I'm supposed to now ask you about your deepest desires and your goals and how all of your dreams line up with our product to get you emotionally attached and involved here. I feel like that's just going to annoy you. Would you rather I just jump straight to the part where I tell you about how it works? And that is a script that goes directly into the section of our discovery calls right before the emotional stage. So you discover them, you still understand their business, but before you start asking them about their dreams and goals, these guys, they're seasoned. They don't care. They don't really want to tell you. Not every time will our reps do that, but we have a very specific set of rules on when that is appropriate to do, so that the sales reps, it just happens automatically. They don't have to think. They don't have to use their active judgment on the call. There's a set of conditions, and if those conditions apply, the rule is rolled out, essentially. The reason that we have these heuristics, like I said, and going back to the importance of this, I mean, we've got so many more, but the reason we have them is so that we as a team can operate efficiently, and most of our cognitive energy and the time and the resources that we have in terms of our mental capacity can be put better towards the things that matter. For example, with sales calls, the main thing for sales reps is getting the objection handling right. It's getting the pitch and the objection handling nailed to a T. And so if they can use heuristics, like ask these questions in this circumstance, pitch this way in this circumstance, or end the call if this happens, right? They don't have to think or make these decisions. The decisions are pre-made for them. You know, if they start a day with 100% decision energy, and then throughout 3 calls, they have to make all these decisions that, you know, we haven't told them what to do if a certain circumstance applies. Then, you know, over time, their objection handling gets worse because they haven't got the ability or the cognitive capacity to handle it properly, right? Talking of client acquisition, if you need help and you're struggling to get more clients and you really don't know how to get appointments and you just can't sell, click the first link in the description because there's a funnel. It's a sales funnel designed to sell you something, to be transparent. It'll explain how me and my team can help you systemize acquisition so you never have to struggle with no appointments again. You don't have to click it if you don't want to. I really, it's not the main thing. The main thing is that you watch these videos, you get value from them. But if you do want to explore how we help people, the link will help you do that. But that's everything from me. I just wanted to share those 4 or 5 or however many heuristics I shared with you. I hope you use them and I hope you find them useful, and I'm happy to make more videos like this. If you comment below, if you want to see more stuff like this, then just let me know. Please like the video because it helps me help you. It means the algorithm will show you more content similar to this that moves your business forward, as opposed to Joe Rogan dopamine inducing clips, right? Nothing wrong with Joe Rogan, but those shorts, they will mess your brain up. Subscribe if you liked it, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Have a good day.